So it's Namm 2026. I'm not there, I'm here in the UK. We've got a few people on the ground who are actually at the show, and they're doing all the good work of hitting all the booths, trying out all the latest gear. And we've got a few of those guys on a video call right now, and we're going to do a little chat with Matt and Andy on the tech side. And we're going to talk about all the synths, samplers, little drum machiney things, software, all the new gear that they've seen so far, and the stuff that they haven't seen yet but want to see. So let's get into that right now. So gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. It's nice kind of late afternoon for us. It's very early in the morning for you, is that right? Good sort of 7:30 in the morning, is that?
Yeah, it's 9 a.m. nearly.
9, yeah. Well, thank you so much for surviving day one. Of course, this is your day two. What I want to do is kind of press you for your highlights so far. I'm going to get you to pick, I think, top threes. We're going to go with that in a minute. And then, yeah, have a good old chin wag about the new shiny things you've seen and the things that you're yet to see. And yeah, and we'll have a good old, yeah, gum flap session. So let's get into it.
Well, I guess that the Phase 8 and the MPC XL, I'd say, are the other two kind of talking points of the show in terms of sort of kind of the big launches, really.
Yeah.
I mean, Leviasynth for me is like, yeah, as a Hydrasynth guy, Leviasynth's been, you know, long anticipated and kind of subverts expectations a bit. Obviously, it's not wavetable based anymore. It's kind of more of an FM routed thing with a sort of algorithmic oscillator structure. So it's, yeah, it's quite different to the Hydrasynth, but it sounds lush, incredible. Like, you know, the algorithmic structure is like, it's infinitely customizable and stuff. So you know, the oscillators can be modulated in loads of different ways. We had a guy called Ken demoing it for us, and he played this massive like CS80 style patch, and it was outputting it via some, you know, chunky speakers. But yeah, it was like listening to like a Blade Runner soundtrack, like in IMAX. It was huge sounding, and you know, each voice can have so many nuances within it. It just like feels really massive and cinematic, and it looks really cool. It's a gorgeous piece of kit.
So Matt, your pick, any order, randomly?
Probably the wildest, most innovative thing I've seen this year is Korg's Phase 8, which is something that's been in the works for a few years now, but it's finally available for pre-order. It's the invention of Tatsuya Takahashi, or Tats, I think he invented the Volkers or was behind the Volkers and the Minilog series. And he set up a special kind of R&D branch of Korg out in Berlin and was given free rein to sort of cook up his wildest synth dreams. And what he's come out with is something that he's describing as like an acoustic synthesizer. So it's kind of a hybrid of a synth and like an electric kalimba, essentially. It's got these 8 steel resonators that can be swapped out to create custom scales. But instead of playing them, you're exciting them with like electromagnetic pulses. And those vibrations are then captured by pickups, and you can shape those pulses with envelopes and modulation. But what was really interesting about it for me is kind of the way you can physically manipulate the tines yourself by either like touching them, plucking them, striking them, laying objects across them to create these kind of really weird timbres and textures. Like at the Korg booth, they had a pebble and a screw next to one of them, and I was just sort of experimenting with how placing the objects could kind of warp and distort the sound. So it's a weird one, but it's an interesting one. You can get a lot out of it, from like kind of metallic discordance or plucks to kind of atmospheric, drone-y type stuff.
Yeah.
And it really comes alive when you run it through effects, which is a shame it doesn't actually have any effects, but I guess they were just trying to keep it down to the core concept. And they had it plugged into a Strymon reverb pedal on the stand, which was sounding pretty cool. And I guess the idea is, yeah, exactly. I guess the idea is kind of taking the physical connection and spontaneity you get from an acoustic instrument and bringing that into the synth world, which is something quite different, you know.
Yeah, that's it. Like you're saying, like having like that whole R&D unit in Berlin, that's a big step for someone like them. I think it's brilliant. You know, the metal tines, which are all sort of different lengths, aren't they? Sort of tuned, presumably that's all tuned that way. Can you actually swap them out for something completely different?
You can swap them out for times that Korg provide. I don't know if you can create your own. I guess if you're, you know, a good enough engineer, you probably could. But I think the launch edition comes with 3 like limited edition tines in like different shapes. Like one's like a fishbone, and I guess they produce. Didn't get a chance to play with them, but I'm sure they produce like slightly different timbres and stuff.
I can see a lot of customization afoot. And I'm really intrigued to see what they do like next, because I remember when they first came out with that at Superbooth like a few years back, there were like different modules that look like, because it's kind of like the main sort of sequencers bit, and then you've got like the screwed in section, which is where the tines are. It seemed like they were thinking about maybe that's like a form factor they're going to swap in different craziness. So look forward to that. Whatever that's going to be, who knows?
Yeah, I think they made like 5 different versions to start out with. I think they were getting pretty experimental with it, and then they narrowed it down to this. But I can see that kind of form factor being taken in different directions in the future for sure.
Right, Andy, number 2 for you.
Yeah, from the kind of the high art of Phase 8 to the kind of silly fun, but really, really quite deep actually, considering its size and price point. The Stylophone Voice, which is just so goddamn playable. I was stood there messing around with it for about 10 minutes, then spent like another 10 minutes just watching other people mess with it and seeing kind of the different results they were getting from it. So if you don't know, the Stylophone Voice, the latest in Dubrek's reimagining of the potential of the classic 60s Stylophone. They've had the CPM DS2 synth, the Beat drum machine, and even the Stylophone Theremin, which was on show as well, which was, you know, if you see a Theremin, you've got to have a little go, haven't you? You can't just walk past the Theremin.
True.
But really, the Voice was their, you know, it's their new product. They sent the on-the-fly sequencer, but yeah, so the Voice, basically, it's a pocket-sized sampler. It allows you to capture your own samples via its built-in mic or aux input. It's got 3 sample slots, and samples can be played back via the 2-octave stylus keyboard or built-in sequencers via its 4-track sequencer. So yeah, 3 tracks dedicated to samples, and the 4th can be used for drum programming. So you can kind of build quite a hefty sounding array of beats, actually. I was surprised by how chonky they sounded, considering it's such a small little device. And there's onboard momentary effects like wobble, spin, and high and low pass filters. It's just instantaneous fun. You know, you press the button, you record a little sample. Suddenly you've got this incredible tool to kind of mangle and morph and contort, and you know, let out your inner craft work, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one girl who was messing around with it, and she was kind of doing the kind of craft work thing and kind of modulating the voice and stuff. And then another guy kind of really leaned into the rhythmic side of things and was kind of making like a little vocal chop and like kind of peppering it into a beat. And then I just went up to it and did a very polite hello there, which then I kind of morphed around and mangled up and stuff. But yeah, it's interesting to see how people kind of approached it in different ways, really. And it's loads of fun, and it's allegedly going to be ultra cheap. It's like $50 price point potentially. We're told it's going to be shipping in July. And And yeah, it's just a hell of a lot of fun.
Bring your little drone box. Is that here? Yes, over there.
We're going to keep things moving on. Matt, your number 2.
Yeah, my number 2 was Behringer's take on the Juno 60, which is something that was teased, as is their custom, many years ago under a different name, and it's finally been almost finished. I don't think it's not out now, but they said it'll be out in a few weeks.
Oh, right.
So this is their take on the Juno 60. They've done the Juno 106 sort of before with the DeepMind, but this is supposed to be more of an authentic recreation, like a little bit closer to the original than even that. They told us that the oscillator and filter chips are really closely based on the original synth. They've got an analog BBD chorus in there, 2 different chorus types, like the 60. Unlike the DeepMind, which actually only had a digital chorus, so it's pretty close. I mean, it's not an exact clone, but they brought a ton of kind of modern enhancements as well that you'd expect in any modern synth, without diluting that kind of simplicity that makes the Juno what it is.
Yeah.
There's loads more modulation capabilities. They got finer envelope control. You get channel aftertouch, a few different voice modes as well. Obviously, full MIDI support and expanded patch storage and everything. So it's got everything you'd want from a modern synth, but it's kind of staying true to that Juno tone.
And it's kind of Behringer keenly price pointed, presumably.
Yeah, I think they said they're still deciding between 599 and 629, but either of those are pretty easy to stomach, to be honest. Yeah.
Great. Were there any other tidbits on the Behringer Music Tribe stand thing booth?
What did we spot? They've got a JT2, which is like a 2-voice sort of Eurorack compatible desktop module version of their forthcoming Jupiter clone, which isn't finished yet. So I guess they're giving us a taster of that early on. And Andy, you had to go with the DMX.
Yeah, so essentially a clone of the DMX, obviously. Yeah, it was okay. I mean, I couldn't really get a decent sound out of it on the booth per se, but yeah, it's pretty much kind of what you expect really from a sort of DMX clone, really. Yeah, I personally wasn't mad keen on it, but I'm not really a big beat making kind of guy, to be honest.
You were, yeah, okay, fair enough. You're a tough man to please, so okay. Well, hopefully we'll get to have a proper play with those at some point, because I know, regardless of what side of the fence you sit on with the Behringer gear, it's always just amazing the price points they come in. So yeah, we'll hopefully see those. Andy, so your third and final would be?
For me, obviously, used to edit computer music, so I was kind of trying to find some interesting stuff in the software world. The most attractive thing for me this year actually has been Fender Studio Pro. And obviously it's available now, but one of the things that really kind of caught my eye was the extract notes function, which is the audio to MIDI conversion feature, which smartly takes inputted audio and quickly generates sort of keynotes and chords, which you can then edit and manipulate. We got a little demo at press day, and it's genuinely impressive hearing it. I mean, this guy was kind of played this big wash of distorted guitar, like very kind of gnarly stuff. But every nuance of each chord he was playing was instantly rendered as MIDI within the DAW. So that was pretty cool. As someone who frequently kind of drags and drops tracks around, having to kind of like laboriously type out the MIDI notes of audio recorded tracks, that looks like a massive time saver. And also, if you kind of have old tracks you want to kind of MIDify, that looks like a genuine kind of workflow boom. And couple that with a smart chord assistant, which Fender Studio Pro has, and you've got a smart new way to build new ideas. It's actually, you know, a lot of talk of AI at the show this year. A lot of panels talking about the ills and the pros, mainly the ills. But this is, a use of AI that actually looks like a genuinely cool workflow speeder upper. And yeah, obviously, you know, people have been speculating as to why the PreSonus Studio One brand even has changed. We chatted with Fender at the press day, and yeah, it's quite interesting. They were sort of saying that basically, like, you know, Fender's got this reputation as sort of a legendary guitar brand, and the company's really trying to move away from that perception and wants to be kind of seen as more of an ecosystem for music production. So yeah, there's also the motion controllers and the kind of rebadged Quantum and Audio Box interfaces too. So it's a whole kind of family, really. So yeah, that feature of Fender Studio Pro really turned my head. But we've got a few software people to see today, so we'll report back on any further software.
Yes, we'll talk about the rest of your show in a minute. Before we do, Matt, I'm gonna hold you to 3. I know you had a few more lined up, but if you can pick one more highlight so far.
It's between the MPC XL and the forthcoming like UDO synth, but
yeah, go on. Yeah, because we've already had the MPC XL in. We did a video of that, me and Cy back here. So I'm gonna say you should go for the Domino. Yeah, go for it.
So this is the Domino. It's a synth that's currently in the final stages of development by a Bristol-based company, best known for the Super series of synths, which is the Super 6, Super 8, Super Gemini, which, you know, we're all big fans of at MusicRadar. And it takes some of the core aspects of those instruments, but also moves in a bit of a different direction for UDO, both kind of sonically and architecturally. So it's still a hybrid synth with the same kind of FPGA digital oscillators as the Super series, and an analog filter. It still has that binaural mode that kind of halves the voice count and splits them across stereo channels. But it kind of builds on the dual synth concept introduced with the Gemini and takes it to a bit more of an extreme, because it's essentially 2 fully independent 4-voice synths that each has its own set of front panel controls.
Right.
And the really cool thing is this selection of 8 play modes that control how the notes you play are assigned to each synth voice. Well, not synth voice, but, you know, synth module.
Yeah.
So you can do more traditional things like split and layer them across the keyboard, or you can get quite creative with it, and it'll alternate one note across one note across the other. It'll randomize them. There's something called a chaos mode, which, as well as randomizing which synth is triggered, it's sort of randomizing the notes you're entering as well and sort of upping them by an octave or a fifth probabilistically. So you can get pretty wild and create some kind of unpredictable sequences with that. And all of that aside, it just looks and sounds phenomenal. I think their synths are some of the best sounding synths I've ever heard, and have the most like usable out of the box presets as well, because I think presets can be so cheesy, you know, and theirs are often like you load it up and you're like, I could use that in a track straight away, you know?
Yeah, quality sound design, we love that. Do you actually get to have a hands-on experience with it?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
The keyboard nice is you know, lovely.
Yeah, I think better keyboards are, you know, as with everything they do, it's all, I mean, it's not cheap, but you know, they put a lot of time and effort into it, and it's sort of a cut above what a lot of other people are doing, in my opinion.
So, gentlemen, that was your top 3s. Thank you for that. I do want to press you, though, considering you've only been there really a full 1 day. There's still more to see. What's on your radar for the rest of the show? Highlights. Andy first.
Well, yeah, the Polyend Endless, which seems to be kind of AI-based pedal programming, which is definitely intriguing. As I was saying, you know, AI is a big buzzword of the show this year. Part of my objective today was also to try and find some time with Suno, see what they're up to.
Yeah.
But I feel like their booth seems to have mysteriously vanished, which is interesting.
What's happened there?
But yeah, also we're seeing the Rain System 1, aren't we, today? You've got Roland's CR78 plugin. What else we got, Matt?
We're swinging by Alpha Theta. They've got a new DJ Focus kind of effects processor, sampler, the Ignite, which looks pretty cool. And they've got a new mixer as well, which I don't know a lot about just yet, but yeah, we'll swing by and check that out.
We should spend more time with the Nord Electro 7 as well. We spent a little bit of time with it yesterday, but there was a live band playing right next to us, and all I could hear in my cans was this guy freestyling on bass. So we need to spend some time with that today and report back.
How very Namm to have that happen. Yes. And of course, you heard about the Casio sampler being announced. I take you're gonna go and check that out, the pair of you, hopefully.
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise, but yeah, we'll be checking that out today for sure. It's kind of got a bit of a Game Boy sort of retro vibe going.
Yeah, they're like little D-pad and thing going on. It does look intriguing. I can't wait to hear what you managed to capture on their booth. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen. Godspeed. I hope that you don't succumb to the Namthrax too much more, Andy. You've done a sterling job to be here. So this is day 2 for you, the beginning of, and you've then got another day, and then you've got a lovely flight home, good old 11 hours in a steel tube. So good luck with it all. Thank you so much. And we'll see you back in the UK. Cheers, lads.
Cheers. See you soon.